Have you ever felt the ground beneath you just dissolve? Not because of an earthquake, but because someone you built your entire world around decided you were just temporary construction. My name is Olivia. 5 years ago, I was the woman behind the man, Liam, the brilliant, charismatic, up-and-coming CEO of a tech startup that was going to change the world. I was his sounding board at 2 a.m., his chef when he forgot to eat, his therapist when investors got cold feet. I was the glue that held his chaotic genius together. I loved him with a terrifying intensity. And then, the moment his company, Apex Solutions, hit its first $10 million valuation, he sat me down in our cramped apartment, the one I paid the rent for, and told me he had outgrown us. He said he needed someone who fit his new life, someone with polish, someone who didn't remind him of the struggle. I wasn't just dumped, I was discarded like an old prototype. It broke me. It truly did. I spent a year just trying to remember how to breathe without a weight on my chest. But I did rebuild. I poured everything I had left into my own career in high-end hospitality. I climbed ladders faster than Liam ever did, because I had something to prove. Not to him, to myself. 5 years later, I was the director of events at the 𝐷𝐸𝐻, the most exclusive, luxurious hotel in the city. The kind of place where billionaires and royalty handle their affairs. I was successful. I was respected, and I thought I was completely over Liam until last Tuesday, when destiny decided to play a very cruel joke and walked my past right up to my reception desk. I was reviewing the P&L statements in my office when my assistant Sarah popped her head in. She looked nervous. "Olivia," she whispered, "we have a walk-in VIP consultation. The platinum wedding package. They wouldn't deal with the sales managers. They demanded the director." I sighed, put on my professional armor, my blazer, and my darkest lipstick, and walked out to the grand lobby. And there he was, Liam. He looked expensive. Tailored Italian suit, a watch worth more than my first car, but his eyes were the same, shifty. Always looking for the next best thing in the room, hanging onto his arm, looking like she'd just stepped out of a heavily filtered Instagram post, was Jessica. She was everything I wasn't 5 years ago. Blonde, statuesque, radiating old money and new entitlement. The daughter of a real estate mogul, if I recognized the last name on the appointment screen correctly. This wasn't just a marriage. This was a merger. Liam didn't see me approach. He was too busy inspecting a speck of dust on a marble column. But when I stopped 4 feet away and said, "Good afternoon. How may I assist you?" he froze. He slowly turned. The color drained from his face so fast I thought he might faint. "Olivia?" he choked out. "Mr. Sterling," I nodded, using his last name. "Welcome to the 𝐷𝐸𝐻. I understand you're interested in our platinum wedding experience." Jessica looked between us, her perfectly sculpted nose wrinkling in distaste. She sensed the history immediately, and like a territorial predator, she hated it. "Liam, babe." Her voice was high and nasal, like grating silver. "You know the help?" The help. That's what I was to her. 5 years of rebuilding my life reduced to 2 words. Liam stammered. Yes. Jessica, this is Olivia. We knew each other a long time ago, before Apex took off." Jessica's eyes raked over me, taking in my uniform, my name tag. She smirked, a cruel, dismissive little thing. "Oh," she laughed, a sound devoid of humor. "The before girl. I get it. Well, it's sweet you found a little job here, Olivia. It must be nice to look at pretty things all day, even if you can't afford them." Every alarm bell in my head was screaming at me to throw them out, to scream, to cry. But the professional in me, the woman who had clawed her way to the top of this hotel, took over. "We pride ourselves on discretion and excellence, Miss Vanderbilt," I said smoothly, ignoring the barb. "Shall we step into the conference room to discuss your vision?" I led them into our finest suite. For the next 2 hours, I endured hell. They wanted the impossible. A wedding in 4 weeks. The grand ballroom, which was booked solid for 2 years. They wanted us to bump a senator's retirement party. "Daddy will pay whatever the cancellation fee is." Jessica waved her hand dismissively. "Just make these little people go away." Liam just sat there, sweating, trying to avoid my gaze while simultaneously trying to impress Jessica with demands he knew were ridiculous. When I explained that we couldn't just displace existing contracts, Jessica snapped. "Listen here." She leaned over the mahogany table, pointing a manicured finger in my face. "Do you know who we are? Liam is a CEO. My father owns half this city. You are a glorified party planner. You exist to serve people like us. If you can't handle it, get me someone competent. And honey, maybe fix your hair. It looks tired." It wasn't the insults about my appearance. It was the absolute dehumanization. The way she looked at me. The way Liam let her look at me. Like I was something scraping the bottom of her shoe. Liam finally spoke up. "Jessica, babe, calm down. Olivia is just doing her job." Then he looked at me, his eyes pleading. "Liv, come on. For old time's sake, can you pull some strings? I really need this to be perfect. It's important for the company image." There it was. The old Liam, using me, needing me to fix his life, while letting his new accessory treat me like garbage. I looked at him, really looked at him. I didn't see the brilliant CEO anymore. I saw a coward. Something inside me clicked off. The sadness, the residual longing, gone, replaced by cold, hard clarity. "I will see what I can do," I said, my voice flat. "Let me draw up a preliminary contract. It will require a non-refundable 50% deposit today, given the short time frame." They signed. They wired a ridiculous amount of money. They left, leaving the scent of expensive perfume and toxicity in the air. I sat in that conference room alone for 20 minutes, staring at their signatures. I wasn't going to plan their wedding, but I wasn't going to just cancel it either. Not yet. The next 3 weeks were a masterclass in malicious compliance. As the director, I had final say on all high-profile events. I approved their booking of the ballroom by calling in a massive favor with the senator's planner and moving them to our sister property with a huge discount. I let Liam and Jessica believe everything was perfect, but I also knew something about Liam that Jessica didn't. Something I'd picked up on in the industry grapevine. Apex Solutions. It was hemorrhaging money. His innovations had stalled years ago. Liam was desperate. This wedding wasn't just a celebration. It was a bailout. He needed the Vanderbilt family connection to secure his next round of funding and save his company from bankruptcy. He was leveraging everything he didn't have to put on this show. The deposit he paid? That was likely the last of his liquid cash. I let them run up the tab. Jessica ordered imported flowers that had to be flown in daily. A 10-tier cake by a celebrity chef. Gift bags for guests that cost more than my monthly mortgage. Every day, Sarah, my assistant, would come to me in tears because of how Jessica treated her over the phone. Jessica called our pastry chef incompetent. She made our florist cry. She threatened to have our bell staff fired for looking at her wrong. I documented everything. Every email, every recorded phone call, every witness statement from my abused staff. I was building a file. The hotel has an ironclad contract clause. Clause 14B, the decency protocol. It states that the 𝐸RM reserves the right to terminate any event contract immediately, without refund, should the client engage in abusive, threatening, or deeply unprofessional behavior toward hotel staff. It was rarely used. It was the nuclear option. 2 days before the wedding, we had the final walkthrough and tasting. The ballroom looked spectacular. Gilded arches, thousands of white orchids. It was a fairy tale setting for a nightmare couple. Liam looked nauseous with anxiety. Jessica was on a rampage. She hated the lighting. She hated the way the napkins were folded. Then the soup arrived. A lobster bisque. Jessica took 1 spoonful and spat it back into the bowl with a dramatic gag. "Are you trying to poison me?" she shrieked, her voice echoing in the cavernous room. She stood up and grabbed the bowl, throwing it onto the floor. It shattered, splashing hot soup onto Sarah's shoes. Sarah gasped in pain. Jessica didn't even look at her. She looked at me. "You incompetent little leech. You ruined this on purpose because you're jealous. I'm going to ensure you never work in this town again. Fix this mess now, you miserable servant." Liam just stood there, rubbing his neck. "Jessica, please, not now." That was it. The moment. I walked over to Sarah, checking her foot. She was okay, just shaken. I stood up and faced Jessica and Liam. I felt incredibly calm. "That is quite enough," I said. My voice wasn't loud, but it stopped Jessica mid-rant. "Excuse me?" she huffed. "Get out," I said. Liam stepped forward. "Olivia, what are you doing? We're 48 hours away." I pulled a tablet from under my arm and tapped the screen. The room's built-in speakers came to life. "You incompetent little leech. You ruined this on purpose. You miserable servant." Jessica's shrieking voice filled the room on replay. Her face went pale. "Clause 14B of your contract," I stated clearly. "Zero tolerance for staff abuse. We have documented 3 weeks of harassment, culminating in physical assault on my assistant just now." I looked Liam dead in the eye. "The wedding is canceled. Effective immediately." "You can't do that," Liam whispered, horrified. "We sent invitations. The press is coming. My investors—" "You're in breach of contract, Liam. The 𝐸RM does not host abusers." Jessica lunged at me, but Liam grabbed her back. "My deposit," he demanded, his voice shaking. "Give me back the deposit. That was $200,000, Olivia. You have to give it back." And here is where the real knife twisted. I shook my head slowly. "Read the contract, Liam. In the event of a termination under Clause 14B, all deposits and payments made to date are forfeited to cover damages and staff compensation." Liam fell to his knees, literally dropped to the expensive carpet. Jessica looked at him, confused. "Liam? Babe? Get up. Daddy will sue them. Who cares about the deposit? It's just money." Liam looked up at her, tears streaming down his face, totally broken. "I don't have it, Jess," he sobbed. That was it. That was the last of the company accounts. I needed your dad's investment to cover payroll next week. I don't have anything else." The silence in that massive ballroom was deafening. Jessica stared at him. The realization washed over her that she hadn't snagged a billionaire CEO. She'd snagged a drowning man clutching at her life raft. Her face contorted in disgust. Not at me this time. At him. She pulled her hand away from his grasp. "You're broke?" she hissed. You lied to me? You made me look like an idiot to my family." She pulled the massive engagement ring off her finger, a ring I knew he probably bought on credit, and threw it at his chest. "I'm done," she said coldly. She turned to me. "My driver is outside. I'm leaving." She stepped over the soup mess and walked out of the ballroom without looking back. Liam remained on his knees, surrounded by the ruins of the perfect wedding that was never going to happen. The truth of his life laid bare in front of the woman he discarded 5 years ago. Security escorted Liam out 10 minutes later. I watched from the mezzanine balcony as he stumbled out the front doors of the Orem, alone. He didn't have his company. He didn't have his trophy wife. And he didn't have the money he'd tried to buy it all with. He used me to build his first fortune, and I used my position to ensure he couldn't fake his second one. I went back down to the ballroom. My staff was already cleaning up the broken bowl. Sarah looked at me, her eyes wide. "Olivia, you just blew up the biggest wedding of the year. Are we going to get in trouble?" I smiled. A real, genuine smile for the first time in weeks. "No, Sarah," I said, putting an arm around her shoulder. "We just upheld the standards of this hotel, and we proved that some things, like dignity, aren't for sale." It took me 5 years to realize that the best revenge wasn't about hurting Liam. It was about becoming the kind of woman who had the power to stop him from hurting anyone else. And that felt better than any wedding day ever could. Thank you for listening to my story. If you believe that karma always finds a way, and that dignity is worth fighting for, please subscribe to Revenge Beyond Love, and like this video. Share your own stories in the comments below. We read every single one. Until next time, remember, know your worth and never let anyone treat you like the help